Hi, everyone. Welcome to our final session of Level Up Leads. Now, as the country is opening back up again and we've gone back to live events, it feels great. But I know a lot of us kind of our marketing edge for these live events maybe got a little rusty over the last year. So we have been thrilled to have this Level Up Leads series to help kind of sharpen that knife and make sure that we can make the most out of all of our prospecting opportunities through the rest of 2021. Now, I'm Becky Swansberg, Chief Marketing and Officer and partner here at Stonewood. I am filling in for Neil Wilding today, who is on a much needed vacation. And I'm actually thrilled that I get to host this final, final webinar for our Level Up Lead series because we are discussing two of my very favorite topics today. And those include data and automation. Now, data is kind of that secret sauce to successful marketing. And I am thrilled to have with me today Danny Yaldor with Acquire Direct and LeadJig, who is going to talk all about how we focus our marketing as we're doing prospecting for these live events, and then how do we gather data, use that data to improve our prospecting efforts and our conversion efforts. So Danny, you are the expert. I got my pencil and paper. I'm going to be taking some furious notes along with you. So I will turn it over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Becky. Certainly appreciate it. And thank you for the opportunity to join everybody today on the Level Up Your Leads webinar series. And certainly from my seat, very excited to see things open up a little bit more. People are certainly getting back to live events and doing seminars and workshops across the country. But still there's a certain level of need for lead generation and backfilling different opportunities to really try and catch up for some of the lost time that we might have had over the last year and a half or so. So today what we're going to be talking about is number one, lead generation. We're going to dive into some data and how we use data to improve the lead generation process. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about automation and how we can use automation to stay in front of other leads that are gathered and continue to cultivate those leads even after they're initially driven into the platform. And first things first, too, for those that are not familiar with us, my name is Daniel Yaldor, and I'm Director of Business Development here for Acquire Direct and LeadJig. And what I've done to kind of get everybody acclimated with who we are and what we do is I pulled up our website here. So I'm just going to quickly walk through this. So for those that aren't familiar with us, you can learn a little bit about the different parts of our business. And then we'll dive right into about 20 minutes worth of heavy hitting activity here. So first things first, using this website, I wanted to just walk everybody through some of the different parts of our business. Number one, for those that haven't worked with us and those who have, we are certainly really big into data. I think at the end of the day, data is going to be the driver of success, especially for marketing. And as things continue to grow from a technology standpoint, data gives us a tremendous amount of opportunity to really cultivate more leads, drive more leads, and more leads that we're looking for, the proper demographics and the proper types of people that we're really looking for. And in order to do that, about 3 years ago, we built a platform called Perspectives. So we actually house the entire consumer database here internally, and we've built tools on top of it to display that data, make sense of it, and then use it to help our clients optimize their marketing. So we've got a really cool tool that allows us to produce heat maps like this to show you really where the densities of prospects are that meet your demographics. And our marketing consultants can walk you through a screen share like this to really show you where the opportunity lies and what we think would be the best opportunity for you to get in front of those folks. And then LeadJig is a marketing management platform that we developed here internally. Started building this platform about 6 years ago from scratch, and it's certainly evolved into a tremendous system that gives us a significant amount of data, transparency, also automates a lot of processes that come along with lead generation, seminars, workshops. And really from our seat too, it gives you guys, the end user, a lot of transparency into how your marketing dollars are spent, where you're getting your best ROI, what types of people are really responding, which allows us to do our job better time and time again. So we'll take a look at this platform, especially from a lead generation standpoint. You'll be able to see some of those different elements that are built in. And then lastly, the core, the spine of our business is acquire direct marketing. I've been supporting financial advisors across the country since the early 90s, specifically in the seminar capacity. Certainly do a tremendous amount of direct mail across the country, but as technology has advanced, we certainly do quite a bit of Facebook marketing, digital ad marketing, email marketing, and really that's allowed us to develop a very strong, what we consider omni-channel approach to marketing, giving prospects multiple opportunities to respond to the same offer on different marketing channels, and then drive those channels into the marketing platform LeadJig. So our marketing consultants help advisors across the country concierge those types of campaigns so that we can be a little bit of a marketing back office for you and a support group from a marketing perspective. So we're going to dive right into LeadJig and some lead generation campaigns. So what we did about a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago actually, when COVID unfortunately was really starting to take hold and in-person events were really starting to be a little bit of a logistical nightmare, is come up with a number of different opportunities for advisors to continue to drive leads, continue to cultivate new people, new indications of interest, new folks that were raising their hand either for an appointment or for just some general interest about different topics. So within the LeadJig platform, what we've done is we've broken lead generation into really 3 different categories with 3 different calls to action. And what we tried to do is come up with a number of different templates that meet pretty much every need you could think of for retirees across the country. These are our most popular topics that are used in our most popular seminar activity as well, which has given us confidence that a lot of these topics have worked across the country and produced the types of results that we're looking for. So we've got appointments, which are give prospects the ability to be driven to a landing page that they can select a specific date and time to meet with you. We also have what we consider our download approach, where we use a different call to action, like a white paper, a report, or anything that you might deliver to prospects in kind of a PDF form. And we'll use that PDF as kind of the call to action or the carrot to get them to respond. So for example, tax-savvy retirement strategies is a topic that we've developed here, certainly ties in with a lot of the things that Stonewood is doing, and we can also develop programs around specific content as well. But just using this as an example, this is the types of landing pages that are automatically produced by our system, and you can plug right into these and start generating leads into the platform. So for example, we have a white paper here that is previewed when the prospects land on this page. They can enter their first name and last name, click to access here, and then immediately they'll receive that PDF in an email so they can start to review the content that was then delivered. Got a little bit about why they should submit to get access to this content, a little bit what's being covered in that PDF. And then, of course, at the top of this page and the bottom of this page, we'll go ahead and customize it for you to include any logos, contact information, or disclaimers, anything else that might be necessary that you might want on that landing page to really represent who you are and your brand to the prospects that would indeed land here. So you can see as I scroll through here, we've got a number of different PDFs and deliverables that you can plug right into. Also, as I mentioned, if you've got any content that you'd like to use yourself, or if you'd like to use some Stonewood content, of course, we can develop landing pages around that and use that as really the call to action for folks to go ahead and respond. And then the last one that we have here is a webinar. And really what we try to do with the webinar approach from a lead generation standpoint is offer webinars as a on-demand kind of approach where you can film yourself, or you can use a video clip that you might like that goes over a number of different topics. And we drive prospects to a landing page where they submit their information, very similar to the PDF download. They'll click watch now, and then that video goes ahead and pops up and delivers them whatever message you'd like to get across there. So what we tried to do in this aspect from kind of a webinar or on-demand approach is really give prospects the ability to get the information instantly. We certainly live in kind of an instant gratification society. So what we tried to do with this webinar approach is give them what they need right out of the gate. So as soon as they submit that information, they can go ahead and watch that video. So we've got a number of different topics that you can plug into from a webinar standpoint as well. But I would say our most popular one is certainly the download. It's a little bit less of a hurdle to climb for prospects. And then we see a really good ROI for folks that are offering downloads and getting submissions. So all of the leads that are pushed into the platform will be pushed right into LeadJig. And our team will go ahead and set everything up for you. So here's an example of a live campaign, so we can go ahead and take a look at it. This is an example of a landing page where this particular advisor uses biblically responsible investing as kind of their wedge or their approach with prospects. So you can see this is definitely content that we customized and built for them specifically. We've got the ability for the prospect to go ahead and submit their information and download. If they'd like to go ahead and schedule an appointment, they can do that right here. And then we've got, again, a little bit about what they're going to be submitting to download, bio section, contact information, and then any disclaimers that might be necessary here at the bottom of the page. So this is one of the templates that we used, but of course, like I mentioned on the front end, this was new content that this particular advisor wanted to use, and we went ahead and built something around it so they could deliver exactly what their brand represents and what they want to offer prospects as kind of a carrot or a call to action for them to go ahead and submit their information. So as those leads funnel into the system, as soon as they're submitted, you're going to get their information in real time. And we have the ability also to customize those landing pages to request different pieces of information. As a standard, we like to request first name, last name, phone number, and email address, which of course is going to give you basic contact information to follow up with them. But we also give them the opportunity to submit their actual address. And that actual address gives us a number of different opportunities to backfill with more data. So as you can see here, because we got the mailing address during that submission, we also can pull in their approximate age as well as their asset level, which gives you a lot of data to work from as you start to cultivate more leads. You know, what ages are responding the most, what asset levels are responding the most to these different topics, and going forward, we can use this data to help optimize our campaigns. So within here, you can see all the leads that were generated. These generate notifications to you in real time. We also have an iPhone and an Android application that you can download. So if you're on the road and you want to follow up with these leads quickly, you can certainly do that from that application as well. Now, once we gather these leads into the platform, we can click on their names. When you click on their names, it creates kind of a CRM style page within our system, where all this data is stored and archived indefinitely, never deleted out of the platform. You can always access this data at any point. And we also integrate with a number of different CRMs if you'd like to push this data into another platform as well. But what this page illustrates is a little bit more of the information that we can derive from the prospect. Without necessarily asking for it, we can use the different information that they gave us during their submission to backfill and pull more information about them. So we have their phone number, their email, their mailing address. We've got opt-ins for emails as well as text messages from them during the registration process. We've got their age, their asset level, and their income level. And now below that, you'll see another tool that we recently implemented. This is called our data enrichment tool. And what we do with this is a number of things. First, we have this little meter here. And in this instance, we've got a 10 out of 10 perfect match. And what that means is we've taken this information, this contact information that was provided during the submission, and for lack of a longer explanation, scanned across the internet to find other instances where Richard here provided that phone number and that email as valid contact information. Meaning, do we have confidence that if you called this phone number, emailed this email address, will you indeed reach Richard? And of course, in the world of online lead generation, you know, people can, in realistic sense, put whatever they'd like into those forms to go ahead and submit. So what we've tried to do is give you, the end user, more confidence in the data that's being provided during this process. And this has helped tremendously, especially with a number of other activities that we'll talk about here in another minute. Another thing is we take all that data and we try and give you more information about them. So depending on what each prospect's internet footprint looks like, you'll see different data flow into the platform. So here's an example of some of the data that we can pull. So for Richard here, we found their LinkedIn profile, so we can directly link into that, of course. We validated the email address here. If he does have other email addresses, you'll see them listed there. Sometimes you see other phone numbers, full birth dates, and then other interests. You can even see Facebook profiles, Twitter profiles, really give you a good feel for what does this person look like based on their internet activity and their internet footprint. So from the LinkedIn profile itself, you can see we pulled a little bit of employment history. So we can see where they worked, maybe how long they worked there. This is really great too. If anybody has ever done employer-specific approaches to lead generation, we've run into some advisors that have learned about different situations where folks may be unfortunately laid off or pension plans have changed. And if you want to target a specific employer, when we get those responses, we can validate how long has that person worked there, or perhaps what positions have they held in that company, which should give you a decent idea of maybe what their retirement might look like based on their tenure at that specific employer. And then on the right-hand side here, we've got an activity stream, and this gives us a little bit more information about this client or this prospect's journey through the platform. So we can see they submitted a registration, they requested a follow-up, meaning they submitted their information and are asking for a follow-up based on the PDF that was provided. So in this instance, the Biblically Responsible Investing PDF. And then from there, we went ahead and sent them an email. Within that email, we have the click to download, click to call us, email us now. So this is the email that was immediately sent to them, which is stored on the platform indefinitely. So for compliance purposes, you can always recall that email. And then we can go ahead and see it was delivered as well as opened. Now we talked about this validation here. So we can see in actual practice here that Richard provided this email and this email was delivered and opened. Meaning if we send Richard additional emails to this email address, we've got pretty good confidence that he's at least receiving them. Also, when you go ahead and do your follow-up, so let's say we call Richard to follow up on maybe what their impressions were of the PDF, what any questions they might have, you can go ahead and use this as kind of a lead-in. So we can call Richard and say, hey, you might have received the email with our PDF. Did you get a chance to open it? Or if maybe it says delivered and not opened, there might be a situation where they've got a heavy spam filter or something like that. And you can say, if you perhaps didn't receive the email, I'd be glad to send it to you while we're on the phone right now. It gives you just a little bit more to call on rather than just calling and saying, hey, you submitted for our PDF. Did you like it or did you not? We try and give you a little bit more information to work from so that you've got a smoother conversation that you can have during that follow-up process. And that's also where a lot of this data comes into play too. There might be different things that you can gather from the prospects. Maybe they went to different universities or part of different clubs you might be familiar with. Again, all these different data points just give us the opportunity to mold audiences for you going forward, and then also you as the end user to gather a little bit more information about them and hopefully make the follow-up process a little bit easier for you. Now on the basis of email, so we've confirmed here that Richard does in fact open these emails that are sent to this email address. So the other activities that we've plugged in directly within this are automation activities. Now, when you gather leads, you certainly gather leads into the system. People have raised their hands, but in reality's sake, there's still some more work to be done. There's still more rapport to be built. There's still more to be done before we actually schedule an appointment with these leads, of course. And what we found is, especially during COVID and when folks were running, let's say, webinars where they had a lot of attendees but maybe didn't schedule appointments, they were running lead generation activities where they had a lot of people raise their hand but they hadn't converted a whole lot of them yet. What we did is we built a number of different drip sequences that you can plug into right within our system too. So now what happens is the leads funnel in, they raise their hand for the PDF or for maybe the webinar or any other offer we might be giving them. And then what we can do is we can enroll them in drip sequences to give them additional opportunities to interact with content, additional opportunities to schedule appointments with you and follow up. So in this instance, this is what we consider kind of a general retirement approach. We've got, again, much like the white paper downloads and the reports, we've got a number of different topics that you can plug right into. But here's an example of one where 21 days after the initial offer that was given to them, they'll start to receive emails. Additional opportunities to interact with you, speak with a professional. Also, there are other deep PDFs or downloads that we can provide them. So if you're doing Social Security or taxes as a topic, any additional calculators, reports, or anything else that you might want to offer them, we can give them another opportunity to interact with you. And what we found is, especially with the lead generation, is a second or third or even fourth touch is great to have. And we see a lot of folks that have scheduled appointments after that third or fourth touch where they've seen something else that has come through that has piqued their interest, and now they're ready to speak with you after receiving additional content. We can also add folks that you might have gathered from other places. So if you've run additional lead generation activities elsewhere or webinars where you've got lists of people that are relatively warm, we can enroll them in these same drip sequences and give them other opportunities to respond and interact with you. So our team here can kind of walk you through all the different topics that we have, all the different emails, what they look like, and we certainly can customize these emails as well or combine topics. Whatever best represents your business and your expertise, we can build a sequence around for you, all within the same platform. And then, of course, all the reporting is going to come right back into the same place. We'll show you opens, we'll show you clicks, how many appointments have you gathered during that drip sequences, how many total responses have you had. So if anybody emails back to any of those emails, it comes right back into the system so you can get a notification and immediately follow up with them. All of this information is driven into the same place so that you can continue to cultivate and understand who's really interacting with your content the most. So this is live updating. As soon as those emails start to go out, you'll start to see reporting come right back into the platform here. And this is one of the big elements of transparency that we try and provide. Is, you spend a lot of dollars on marketing, and we want to make sure you understand exactly what's going on when those marketing dollars are spent and when prospects are interacting with your content. Now, all of these lead generation activities that we do are typically driven by Facebook predominantly, where we're using Facebook to drive folks to that individual landing page. One of the unique things that we like to do is actually request access to your business Facebook page if you have one, so that we can push out ads directly from your brand. When you do Facebook advertising, a lot of the budget that's spent, of course, is to help drive responses, but there's certainly a good portion of that budget that ends up being what I consider a brand recognition approach, where folks are seeing your logo, they might not be clicking, but they will see it more than once, twice, maybe even 3 times. And what we try and do is quantify really what did you get outside of just direct responses. So it's great if we got 20 responses for the budget that you applied to it, but outside of that, really how much traffic did we generate? How many people were really interested or seeing the ads that I was pushing out? So within our platform as well, in real time, you'll be able to see each hour of the day, how many impressions do you receive, how many people do you reach, what's the frequency, how many clicks do you get? And then, of course, on the right-hand side here, we'll give you in aggregate, how many people did you receive or did you reach? How many times did they indeed see those ads for your total impression rate? How many clicks did we generate? So this helps give you more transparency into really how your budget was managed, but then also from a marketing perspective, if we're getting a lot of clicks and maybe not a lot of submissions or a lot of impressions, but not a lot of clicks, there might be adjustments we need to make to either the ads, the demographics, or the offer itself to try and improve those ROI and improve that response rate. And then also below that, we've got the demographics too. So you'll be able to see what demographics are interacting with those ads, male versus female, and then all the way up through the different age cohorts that you might be targeting. So certainly in this instance here, we had a little bit broader of an age group, not necessarily just your pre-retiree age group. That advisor office is certainly a younger advisor office, so they work with a good amount of younger folks as well. So we wanted to give them kind of a broader scope of people to be able to push those ads out to. So you can see the dispersion between the different age groups and what the impression rates were, which is interesting to see that 65 plus was their largest impression rate, being that 65 plus is one of the largest growing groups within the Facebook communities as well. But all this data, again, gives you more transparency into exactly how your budget was managed. And then here, from our team standpoint, we certainly can take a look at exactly, where are we getting our best responses and how can we tweak your marketing to give you a better dollar cost average of responses. So that's the lead generation portion of things. And really quick as well from our dashboard here, what I wanted to show everybody too is we talked a little bit about kind of the reopening of the country and what we consider kind of the reopening of seminars and workshop activities. So what I'm going to show you real quick just to kind of close out here from a lead generation standpoint is a lot of the data that you gather and a lot of the leads that you gather, a really good next step for them is to maybe come to a live event to hear from you and learn a little bit more about your business. And this is just a quick snapshot of across the country, what we're seeing over the next 30 days or so. And you can see, events across the country have certainly picked up significantly. Each and every one of these individual dots are locations that events are being held. And you can see even on the West Coast here, our folks have started to join us in California, hosting some more events and getting in front of people. And generally, the overwhelming impression that we've received from event-based activities is, response rates are maybe 10 basis points lower than they were receiving previously, but the conviction of the attendees are very high. With direct mail and seminar activities, we're seeing 90% or higher attendance rates, and the appointment ratios are certainly very strong, and people are serious about getting anything that they might need handled by a financial professional. So hopefully that gives you a good overview. I know it's a ton of information in about 25 minutes time. Really wanted to kind of cover the 30,000 foot view. Again, all of our marketing consultants here internally have this platform. They can walk you through your different options from a topic perspective, from an event perspective, and even explore with you the different data that might be around your area and give you a good feel for what the opportunity set might be if you'd like to jump into doing any lead generation activities or even seminar activities as well. So if anybody's got any questions, happy to take those as well. And Becky, of course, if anything I missed there, happy to cover that too.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions here for you, so we'll just dive right in. Talk a little bit about how advisors can use all this data going forward. So we've talked a lot about gathering the data and some of the things that we can do with the data right now. But one of my very favorite things about data is it stays evergreen for a pretty long time and it can inform a lot of what you do in the future. So what are some strategies you guys are seeing that are really working with that?
Absolutely. Good question. So the nice thing about the LeadJig platform, of course, is it aggregates all that data into one place. And what we can do is we can download that and we upload it into our data platform, which what that does is takes all the responses that we've received and gives us a nice output file to say, based on the responses that you've received, the average age group that's responding to this topic is, call it 64. The average asset level is 250,000 or more in assets, and their average home value is, let's say, $300,000. Now what we can do is take all that data and either do additional lead generation activities, but try and hone in more on the types of people that were responding. Or if we're going to parlay ourselves maybe into a seminar style activity, we can now use that data to help pull our mailing lists or understand really where you're getting the best traction on that topic and use that as well for an in-person style approach. So whether you start with lead generation or you've done events, we can kind of do the same activity of really understanding where your best response has been previously and how do we get more of those types of people in front of you.
That's great. Talk a little bit about what some of those other activities might be for people. So now they've got all this data. What are kind of the top 3 things that you think people really need to add into the mix going forward in terms of their prospecting and lead gen?
Absolutely. I would say, one of the big things is definitely automation. Staying in front of people. They say, a consumer will take 5 to 7 times to see your brand, to get comfortable with it, to really explore it and understand and want to respond. So I think automation has really been a big thing that's helped advisors get more out of the lead generation process. I think in a lot of instances, you'll have situations where people raise their hand for a PDF, but then maybe they don't answer the phone or they don't follow up on your emails. And automation has really helped us give you the ability to keep your brand in front of them and trying to get them to respond. And then the second thing that I would say is the biggest is, and this is especially for folks that are doing seminars on a regular basis, we've got a lot of folks that are using these lead generation activities in the background, where they're consistently hosting events, but they might be running lead gen in the background to drive additional people to those events as well. And like I said, a really good next step for anybody who raises their hand in a lead generation approach would be to attend a live event. It's a little bit less of a high-risk offer to a prospect, maybe come in immediately for an appointment. So they might want to come and hear from you for 45 minutes or so. And if you're not hosting live events yet, or you've kind of transitioned into a webinar approach, inviting those folks to a webinar is really going to help with the attrition rates that you might see of more cold prospects that would attend maybe a webinar style seminar approach.
That is great. Well, we've got 2 more questions. The next one I can take, we've got a couple people that have asked, is everything that Acquire Direct and LeadJig doing work with the Stonewood seminars? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Absolutely.
We've been working with Danny and his team. So if you are putting on our new Rising Tax Risk seminar or any of the other seminars in our portfolio that you've downloaded from stonewoodfinancial.com, we've got mailers and campaigns on file with Acquire that you can plug and play right in. All right, so we have one final question, and I'm looking to the screen. I'm reading them off one screen, talking to you. Where are people being targeted from? So like how specific can we get in terms of targeting certain kinds of people, certain age range, demographics?
Sure. So I'll answer that in kind of a twofold activity because number one, I'm going to answer that from a Facebook approach, and then secondarily, I'll answer it from kind of a mailing approach. So one of the unique things that we have the ability to do, and this I'll kind of start with the mailing approach, is if you're doing seminars and you're using direct mail as kind of the backbone of your approach, we can take a direct mail list and we can append it to get a number of different other avenues to contact somebody. So for example, we can append it to email addresses. So now we can know exactly what email addresses represent this household. We can take those email addresses and then append them to Facebook. So now we can gather the Facebook profiles that represent that household as well. And that will give us the ability to target them very specifically from a multiple channel aspect of things. And within the LeadJig platform, if you have a multi-channel approach, it's going to tell you who responded from email, who responded from Facebook, and who responded from direct mail as well. Now on the Facebook side, we can be a little bit more employer specific. So for example, unfortunately during the COVID scenario, we here in Florida have a lot of cruise terminals, Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruise Lines, especially down in South Florida. We had an advisor that works in South Florida that targeted specifically Carnival Cruise Line employees as well as Royal Caribbean employees. Now, from a mailing list, we can't necessarily say, give me all the Carnival employees. But from Facebook, where people are self-selecting, hey, I work for Carnival or hey, I work for Royal Caribbean, we can narrow down folks that work specifically for those employers and deliver them ads based on that, as well as their geography. Meaning we took the Royal Caribbean headquarters as well as the Carnival Cruise Line headquarters and drew nice large circles around them from a geographic standpoint and delivered Facebook ads into anybody who entered those areas. So now when they're at work, they're also receiving Facebook ads that are relevant to them. Hey, if you work in the travel industry for cruise lines, 5 things you might need to know about how your retirement has changed. And that's given us really, really good opportunity to have a very rifled approach to marketing, especially considering when they respond, the LeadJig platform will enrich that data and tell you exactly what positions they might be holding at those different organizations.
That stuff is so cool. Some of you guys may know I got my career start actually in politics and government in Washington. And man, this is the kind of data that would have just lit up, made my job so much easier. It's really amazing to think that we can kind of granularly target people based on all these characteristics. All right, our final question is just, we have a couple people asking if this has been recorded. Danny, you've done a great job. We've got a lot of viewers that want to rewatch, learn more about data. So yes, we'll get a recording of this and the rest of the Level Up Lead series to you. Danny, any final parting words before we go?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their time today. And even if you just have basic questions and you want to explore even what the possibilities are, don't hesitate to reach out to Becky. She'll be happy to connect you with us, and we can do a screen share just like this on an individual basis and go over exactly what your options might be. And we'll certainly be very transparent with you on what's working and what's not. It's certainly in our best interest to guide you in the right direction. So even if it's preliminary, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to chat with you.
Wonderful. Well, Danny, thank you so much for joining us. For all of you on the call today, thank you so much. We are so excited to have you as Stonewood members, and we are so excited to hear of all the practice growth and successes that you have in the year ahead. I know Neil says this a lot, but one of our greatest joys here at Stonewood is just hearing from the advisor community. So when you close that big case, you get that, $20,000 a year 5-pay, $50,000 a year 5-pay, or when you finally do that seminar that clicks, or when you have more leads than you've ever had before, drop us a line, let us know. We're also here to help if you need some direction and guidance on some of these activities. So thank you guys for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day.